Welcome into the Casual House. Earl Burnett, Sean McConnell. You're in the Casual House right here on the Kazual Sportz Show. And we're coming off another win, baby. And you know how it goes. Hold on a second. Let me get the theme music for the day. Is that about how it went?
I couldn't hear you, bro. I couldn't hear
Oh,
the music.
you couldn't hear it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, man. That was the Fort Minor. Remember the name with the 10% luck.
Oh,
20%. I'm going with that 10% luck part. That's the part I'm talking about.
yeah, that was solid. That was some good. That's a good reference.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have some of that in football these days, or in sports, period. It's a little bit of that always involved, no matter what. But we'll take it, right?
Hey, a win is a win is a win.
Hey, you were in the building, so what was the atmosphere like having the fans back in the Red Sea?
I can tell you what, my throat was hurting the next day, and in these days and age, when your throat starts hurting, you start freaking out, and then I realized, no, I was just screaming my head off, so that's a little bit different. It was great to see, because I also went to the Seahawks game the year before when there was like 2 people in the building that they allowed in. So to be able to like see the difference, black and white, like how crazy it is now, it felt like it used to be, man. It felt really cool. I mean, granted, with all those, I see both sides of the argument, but with all those season ticket holders that love to just get their season's worth in one sell to an opposing fan, that was frustrating. There's a lot of Vikings fans, and admittedly, I bet half of those people are also Cardinals fans, but they're from Minnesota, so it's just hard.
I was just about to ask you that. I was like, because I know every time I saw her, I'm watching on TV and the Vikings made a play. I was like, why are the Cardinals fans cheering for the Vikings?
It was loud.
Like they had that many people in there, the Viking fans.
Yep.
Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's cool though, I guess, but it's not cool that we're selling our tickets to these people, man. But at the same time,
yeah,
I'm glad we did do what we always do, what we did the last 2 weeks at least, shut them up. So
people got to make money.
You got to give me your thoughts going down the stretch. You thought that game was over, right?
I mean, it felt like it, but the second the kick went up, I was like, wait a minute, it is the Vikings though. I mean, they could do this to us. And then I looked, the kick goes up, I can't see the ball because it goes into the stands as far as your visuals go.
Right.
And I look down at the refs and I go, they did it. They pulled the Vikings on us. I can't believe it.
Did you see some of the YouTube videos of people? They had a couple of Viking fans. They thought the kick went through. They were all like, broadcast. Yeah! And the broadcaster thought it went through. They all thought they had won, and he turned around. No, he missed it. He missed it.
Yep, he missed it.
That was funny. But, yeah, man, we'll take that. Like I said, a win, like you were saying earlier, a win is a win. And, I mean, they did do what was necessary to get them to 34 points. But I guess that's how you got to look at it. But in the NFL, like you said, and all the players are saying it, they're not apologizing for a win like that. But it happens, and you can't dismiss that. It could also happen to us somewhere down the line as well. So let's not get too happy. But we're 2-0. Cardinals are 2-0. But we're gonna get to that in a second. Let's talk about some other stuff that's going on in the world of sports real quick. And I want to touch on real quick before we get to the Cardinal talk is what the heck happened to ASU? My goodness, did you catch any of that game?
I didn't get to watch as much of it as I would have liked to.
You sure? You probably glad you didn't, because you'd be really, really, really ticked off right now. I mean, it was one of those games that was really tough to watch, man. I'm sitting there going, is this a high school game or a flag football game? Or
it was that bad.
It was bad. It's like nobody had, like they didn't practice at all. It's like this. Let's just go out there and play and see what happens. I mean, you mean to tell me not one day of practice, they practice on a silent count? These dudes have 4 penalties on one drive, a false start, back to back to back to back. It's like, man, and what the bad part of it, man, I was watching Herm, and they kept flashing the camera on the Herm, and all he was doing was having his arms crossed like this, like looking just like he was in another world somewhere, dude. It looked like he wasn't even thinking what was going on the field. He was thinking of somewhere else, dude. And I'm starting to think that investigation is starting to weigh on him a little bit. You know how you know something's coming, you know it's coming, and you're fearing what's coming, but you ain't really you're thinking about that, but you're really acting like you're somewhere else.
Yeah,
it looked like that's what he was doing, man. Like he got something else on his mind, and I know it's got to be that damn investigation, man. And it was horrible, man. The whole team just looked like they were undisciplined, like they weren't taught anything. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's got to wear on the whole organization because you thought that we're building something here, and it's starting to get stripped away a little bit. It's frustrating. You know, the part that's actually more frustrating to me, though, and this is kind of petty, I guess. What BYU was like 4 spots down behind ASU. They call it an upset. That's not an upset. It's not an upset. I'm sorry, like mathematically it's an upset, but I mean, in all reality, those are 2 good clubs trying to play each other. It's not an upset.
I would say it's 2 mediocre clubs playing each other because
they're ranked. So I'm gonna say they're good because there's a lot of not ranked guys that aren't good. You know what I mean?
Right. But then at the same time, BYU has just beaten some, all of the Pac-12 so far, of course. So they add us to the list, and I mean, but I mean, all the talent that ASU has at running back. I mean, especially at running back, because it's at one part in that game. They finally leaned on the running game and started to do what it was supposed to do, and it got them back in the game. Then they went away from it again. And it's like, just lean on what you got, because they tried to let Jaden throw the ball a little bit more in this game. And he did. He was a really efficient game throwing the ball, okay, but it didn't make any impact on the game to where they were making them win the game at all. And I was just like, man, what's wrong with this team? It's like they're just zoned out. They're somewhere else, man. I don't know what's going on with that team.
Yeah, and those 2 picks did not hurt. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Let's look at something else that's going on in the world of sports. A lot of injuries, of course. I didn't do an injury report, but there's a lot of injuries going down, big time injuries for big time players that are making a difference throughout this league, as far as teams got to go find somebody. I mean, how many running backs to the 49ers and Ravens are going to lose? Both those teams. I mean, they both are just down to let's just find somebody off the street type of running back.
It might turn into you and me suiting up. I mean, I don't know.
Well, you kind of, I mean, you don't want to be happy that people are getting hurt, but at the same time, you look at your division and you go, there's another guy falling off that team. And what happened last week was something else in that division. Who else went down last week?
Lost a lot of quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of quarterbacks went down. So I don't know, man. It just seems like it's really early in the season, and I'm hoping. I mean, it's to me, it's better to have injuries early than to have them late.
True,
but that's part of the game, and it is what it is. You just got to be hoping you're prepared for when you go through something like that. And I'm hoping the Cards can stay pretty much healthy. We did lose 2 people to injuries on that week. Beecham and Marco Wilson got hurt, but they are day to day, so that's still good news. But we did get some people hurt, but they're not out. Yeah. So they could be coming back for the game this week, but they really don't need to come back this week. Probably, maybe, they be playing Jacksonville. This should be a little cupcake, and maybe you can kind of get a little bit more rest for those 2 guys. But you know how that goes. I'm not going to even jump into
last year we looked pretty at 2-0 too, so I'm just saying.
We're not going to even jump into that day. Go trap, right?
This is the epitome of a trap game.
Can it really be a trap game, though?
Yes. Yeah, last year. Last year.
Watched Jacksonville's games at all? Have you watched them?
I know this. I know you and I both know this, but let's just listen to last year. We were here this time last year saying you beat the Niners, who were a Super Bowl favorite, by 4. You beat Washington, who you're supposed to beat, and then you were playing the Lions, and you lose to the Lions. We just beat the Titans, who are a Super Bowl favorite, beat the Vikings, who we were supposed to beat, even though they kind of gave us that win. And now you're going up against Jacksonville. I'm saying it's a mirror image of last year. So let's not just discount Jacksonville, because if they go down 0-3, you're looking at Urban Meyer's fired, get rid of Lawrence because he's crap. I mean, they got something to prove too. So this is a trap game, 100%.
A mirror image of last year, but this is not the same team as last year, though, right? I mean, you got
a lot of the same pieces. They got a lot of the same pieces.
That's true.
They still got the same coach.
Oh man,
I'm just saying.
The additional pieces to this team has made this offense look a little bit more functional to me.
Just a little bit.
A little bit more like it's supposed to have looked, the last 2 years. And who's that missing piece? We're going to talk about that missing piece later, but I'm pretty sure you know where I'm going with that. But
he's a big dude.
It actually is a little dude.
Oh, it's a little dude? Yeah. I was talking about the big dude in the middle.
No, I ain't talking about that big dude in the middle. He ain't showed up quite yet.
Oh, he did pretty good.
Oh, yeah, he's doing his job. I'm not saying he's not, he just hasn't showed up in the stats.
That's the life of an offensive lineman, though. Like, yeah. If you're doing good, I don't give a crap about you. If you're doing bad, like, I know.
Yeah, I didn't see him get no sacks. I didn't see him do no, but he's wreaking havoc. He's doing his job. So, and other people are benefiting off of him. That's for sure. But I was leaning on the small guys.
Yeah, number 4.
Yeah, that little dude, man. That little dude is for real, man.
It does help when you got some burnt toast in the secondary that doesn't know how to I'm just saying.
How you come up here dissing your boy like that? That's your boy, man.
Look, if you wanted to stay my boy, then you should have started to learn how to tackle and you should have played safety. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're gonna definitely talk what's going on with this Cards game when we come back. We're 2-0, and let's talk about the stars of the game. Of course, our quarterback. Is he the franchise guy that's going to be that next $40 million guy? Is he that guy's going to lead us to that playoff run? Man, the way he balling right now, they got him already penciled in as MVP.
Hey, if you want to crown him, then crown him.
You crown him. You're listening to the Kazual Sportz Show right here on KSRN, the hottest internet radio station on the web. Catch us at www.ksrnaz.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Casual House. Bird Gang. The Arizona Cardinals are flying at 2-0. No matter how they got there, they flying at 2-0. Man, I want to look at Kyler Murray for a minute, man. And I usually save him for the last, but he got so much we can talk about with him right now. One thing I like about what he's doing right now, like I said last week, is he's starting to check out of plays, change plays at the line of scrimmage, notice what's going on in front of him, and killing the defense with doing it. When I see him do that type of stuff, I'm like, okay, now we're looking at he's going to probably have one of those years that Josh Allen had last year, because that's when Josh picked it up. He started knowing how to do all that and started doing it. Buffalo start flying all over the place. So I think this is that year he's going to start to get it even more. And throwing the ball as many times as he's thrown it, you kind of know that a pick is coming at some point, but you just hope that it's not that big one that's going to lose you the game. Right. But at the same time, man, this kid, man, he kind of got me kind of up and down. Like, last year we were all like, man, is he too little? Is he this? Is he that? And and then you see him do things like he do, and it's like, man, this dude is crazy tight. So like, man, he's a legit little. He knows he's not afraid of the moment. The dude goes out there and does his job, and he does it in a good fashion that's like that make you say, wow, every time, dude. So I wanted to just focus on one pass he made in this game, and maybe remember I was always talking about him throwing the ball from the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the 3rd and 16 it was, and he drilled one to Christian Kirk between two. Man, when I was watching the tape and I started that thing played back over and over, I was like, how the heck did he get that ball between people?
Yeah, and the fact that Kirk had to go up and get it too, and still got
right to the chest, like boom. I'm like, he literally drilled that thing into Kirk. Yeah. I'm like, man, Kyler's not just a runner and a spectacular playmaker. He has a rocket freaking arm.
True.
So I mean, to see him run out, I knew he was going. He makes plays running around, but just to see him throw from the pocket was good to me. I know he had some issues throwing from the pocket because he made the pick he threw to the linebacker. I forgot his name, Vigil, whatever his name was. He threw it to the linebacker, but he thought he threw it further outside, but the linebacker kind of kept fading over to the left, and he reached his arms out and got it. So, I mean, that's going to happen when you're throwing the ball, 30-something times he threw the ball in this game?
36.
36 times. Man, is that the recipe, though, for this team, though? Does lean on Kyler that much? 36 times throwing the ball?
I mean, when we had a good running back by committee. We had 103 yards with Murray going 31, Edmonds 46, and Connor 26. I think it is a good recipe. I mean, you look at the opposite side of the field, you got Captain Check down here with 22 for 32, but 244 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. You got Kyler going 29 for 36, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. One was because he got hit in the head as he's throwing it. So the throw came up short, is off his back foot, just bad posture, whatever. But 3 sacks for 29 yards. So that's the one I want to harp on for a second right there.
Okay.
You're going to take a sack. You can't take 29 yards worth of sacks. That is bad. That's bad. Right. That's too much dancing. Now, I know some of that dancing turns out to be great stuff. Some of that turns out to be negative 29 yards that you needed. So that's a little frustrating. But, yeah, you might have to have Kyler throw it. I mean, it's not like he can't throw. He's a good thrower. He makes me nervous as hell every time he throws off his back foot. But he's good. He's good at what he does. Like you said, he's getting it into windows that you didn't see. I don't know, man.
You kind of got to live with some of his bad because his good overweighs the bad. But sometimes the bad could be at the wrong time. Like, I mean, they had all the momentum in that game. They had Minnesota on the ropes, and then he comes out and throws that pick 6, and it's like, now it's a game again. And now we got to fight back and get back and take the momentum back, and it just made it a little bit harder. But you don't want to get that kid to be gun shy. So, and I don't think he was gun shy. I think he came right back the next drive and went right down the field, and they scored a touchdown. So, I mean, he's got a lot to learn still, but he is definitely learned a lot to this point, and he knows this offense in and out. You can tell, and guys are kind of leaning on him to know what they need to do. And I mean, he can check out of a play real quick and see AJ Green out there with a dude just playing way off of him, and he checks out of that play, and boom, the ball's at AJ Green. Is a touchdown. Last year, he wouldn't have done that. He probably would have just snapped that ball and just went back and ran around a little bit, and ended up throwing it out or running to the side, taking a sack again or whatever, or sat down on his butt in the pocket. One of the two, but he actually knew what he was doing. He's like, okay, you're gonna play off my guy, bam, ball out there, touchdown.
And as they've said, this is actually the next step. That it isn't just Kyler; it's the team noticing we need to work on scramble drills like daily. Right. This is we need to figure out if I'm going left or right, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? Because I need to know where you guys are going to be. And that showed for 2 of those touchdowns in that game.
Right.
Not to mention with Kyler's running ability, this stat looks a little bit more skewed, but with his running ability, Kyler Murray is tied for first with most touchdowns in the NFL, right? Tied with Tom Brady at 9.
Wow. That's kind of fitting because our offense is right behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in scoring. So I mean, man, something's going right. So can this be something where you've seen the last 2 weeks, 38 points, 34 points? This is a pretty firing offense with a lot of weapons. Can they keep that? Can they keep that scoring punch up? Going through, because when you play games like those are two different games they played, right? We saw Derrick Henry, the power running game, and they had two good receivers, but they mostly leaned on that power running game. And our secondary was able to slow down those bigger receivers. Right. When you came in with Minnesota, they got a power running back and a fast running back, but at the same time, they have three fast receivers you have to stay with. And that gave us some trouble. And that's, we're going to be playing teams like that, like the Rams. We're going to be playing teams that got all these spread out offenses that can we match these guys is what I'm saying.
Well, defensively, it's going to be interesting. I mean, this is where Vance has to really kind of prove his worth. It was one great game plan. I don't think the Vikings game plan was as good. I thought it was, let's just do what we did against Tennessee and it'll be fine. It didn't turn out to be fine. I mean, I'm looking going, you're letting Dalvin Cook do this to us, but you let Henry do that to us. It doesn't match up. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I think we got a little bit more trouble with different types of receivers, and that's obviously based on personnel, which if going into the season, I thought it would have been the opposite. I thought we would have had an easier time against Minnesota versus Tennessee because of the size of wide receivers. But here we are. I mean, Jacksonville will be a good get-right game, hopefully. Like I keep saying, hopefully, because, last year. The Rams game, that's going to be a tough one to handle because they have been practicing with all these weapons for a while, and they just upgraded their quarterback. That's like having a car that's perfect and then putting like a Hemi engine in it and being like, all right, now it's perfect. That's tough. That's tough to do.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to actually judge this Cardinals team based on how they play the Rams. That's how I'm going to base this. That's how I'm going to judge this Cardinal team because that has to be their kryptonite. That has to be their we have to win game this year, no matter what our record is. If we don't beat that team, we're not where we need to be.
You want to beat them twice, or are you saying just once?
You got to at least get him once. I don't care how many. If it's in their house, all right, I don't care. You got to get that team at least once.
That's fair.
Got to. Because Sean McVay has had our number since he's been in the league. He hasn't lost to the Cardinals. And every time they do play us, those wide receivers run crazy on us and just score. And we don't keep up with them in the scoring column. So now it's like our both offenses are going to be firing like crazy. Now it's going to come down to whose defense can stop whose offense. But at the same time, we have to beat that team for a psyche type thing, I think.
Yeah.
Because that team, when we play that team, it's like we're that little brother that just bows down all the time for some reason. So do we have enough right now in our arsenal right now to go play that team?
That's going to be tough.
This early.
This early is going to be tough. I don't think we're going to get it on this first try because just look at it this way. You're going to go put offensive line up against offensive line. The Vikings offensive line is worse than the Rams. Can we agree on that?
Okay.
We only got one sack against the Vikings. Okay, so you can say the Titans are good, but Lawan was coming back from an injury. Chandler Jones was making a statement.
Yeah.
This Rams game, I have a hard time seeing us get after Stafford. And usually when we played him in the Lions, that didn't necessarily help us when we pressured him. It was better not pressuring him. So maybe if Vance can, think of a way to disguise blitzes that aren't actually blitzes and then drop back and only rush 3 and just zone up the whole thing. I don't know. Maybe it'll work. There's really not a blueprint on how to stop these Rams right now. There isn't.
No, that is exactly right. There is no blueprint. And the same thing when you think back, we made Jared Goff look like a superstar every time he played us. So now that you put Stafford in that position and we don't get no pressure on him and we don't force him to do anything different, he's going to pick us apart. So
yep.
I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But matchups always make the game, right? I mean,
of course.
Matchups make the game, like you just got through saying. What's his name? Taylor Lewan.
Taylor Lewan, yep.
Yeah. He was hurt, playing on one leg, coming off an injury, and Chandler was just hyped up. So that matchup favored the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And then you got a matchup this week with the Vikings. They got embarrassed the week before. So they got something to prove. So they kind of beefed things up a little bit and said, I'm playing with a little bit of pride. And those matchups became a little bit more even. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't get past them, but we did get some pressures on them on the quarterback. Yeah. I mean, Chandler didn't get 5 sacks. He had 5 pressures. I mean, that makes a difference, but matchups make the whole thing to me. I don't know. So when we match up against that Ram offensive line, do we have enough to cause and wreak enough havoc to get them to be out of sorts? And I think JJ's got to start getting going. I mean, I know he's been doing his thing and he's making some tackles and he's getting, tackles in the backfield, and that's good. We got to get JJ at the quarterback, man. And if we can get JJ at the quarterback, that will make a big difference.
If you don't by week 4 when we play the Rams, if you don't see some sack production out of JJ, people are just going to think of him as a decoy, and they're going to start doubling Chandler again. Right. And then all of a sudden, there goes all our productivity. You have to it's one thing to have it on paper. It's another thing to have it to the defenses are actually like they got to be honest with us now because we can both go at you. Right. If they don't believe that, they're not going to play like that. They're going to double Chandler. So Vance has 2 options, right? Option number 1, fake blitz, rush 3. Option number 2, blitz 8, throw 3 in coverage. Because at that point, it's a numbers game, right? Right. 8 on 5. Someone's got to get there.
Yeah, we got to get Marco Wilson back out there. I know he's a rookie. We counting on this rookie. I was kind of scared about that. We counting on this rookie too much. But I mean, the way he's played, he's one of the best corners we got on this team. We need him out there, especially going against that team with all that speed they got. And man, I don't know we jumping the gun, but I mean, 2-0 is 2-0, and you want to write it 3-0 automatically, but you really can't. You got to see him do it. You got to really see him go out there and dominate the way they should dominate that game.
Because look, Earl, it's in Jacksonville at 10 a.m. Another one.
And then it can be one of those psychic things in the player's head. We're supposed to dominate this team. This stuff start going bad, and then you start going downhill. Yeah, that's the trap game for you. Let me switch gears here and talk about the little guys that I was talking about that's making a difference of why this team's clicking on offense. And, of course, the little guy, of course, is Kyler first. Getting a little bit on his 3rd year. He's picked up the offense a little more. He knows the offense. He's got it to a T. He's a little bit more confident, too. I don't know if you noticed when he's running, he's not looking like he's scared to get hit now. He's running.
Yeah.
He's running into tackles, between tackles. So that lets me know, okay, he's like, okay, screw it. I'm just going to go out here and ball. So now he's not worried about the rush. He's just letting it go. So that makes him better. And then, of course, being able to read those defenses the way he's been reading them so far. But putting that other little piece into this offense, I think, has been the key, and that's Rondale Moore. That was supposed to be Andy Isabella last year.
Yes, it was.
It was supposed to be. But what's the difference between Andy Isabella and Rondale Moore, in your opinion?
Finding ways to get open and catch the ball.
Catching the ball, yes. The main thing to me was confidence. Andy was never confident in catching the ball, confident in running, getting off the line of scrimmage, confident in running in the middle, catching passes, because he knew he was going to get hit. This kid don't care about getting. In fact, he wants you to try to hit him. Yeah. He's just going to make you look stupid.
Catch me if you can.
Catch me if you can. Biggest play on that Sunday game in the entire game. Yeah, we put up 34 points. We saw bombs go this way. We saw Hopkins. We saw every play from both sides.
We saw a 62-yard field goal from the old man.
But that's what I'm saying. The biggest play in that football game was the 18-yard scramble. I mean, the 18-yard play that Rondale made before halftime, 10 seconds before halftime, to set up the next biggest play was the 62-yard field goal.
A franchise record.
That was the biggest play of the whole game, because if he gets out of bounds, if he doesn't get out of bounds on time, they lose that 3 points. They lose that game.
Yeah.
So he gave them that opportunity to get that field goal. He was like, well, look, there's no chance we're going to get it on the next play. So I got a couple of more seconds left. He just started juking people and gets out of bounds with 1 second left to set up that field goal. That was the biggest play of the game.
Made it look easy too. I
sure did.
I had to go on get water bottle duty, so I'm waiting in the giant line at concessions, and I'm like, man, he made that look easy. Play. Well, they got a little tiny TV to watch, but yeah.
When you're that fast, you can fake like you're going out of bounds and cut it back and cut it back again and cut it. This dude has a cutback or cutting speed That is unreal. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, this dude's he is going to make an impact. It has already, is going to continue to make this big of an impact for this offense. And so watch for teams to start looking at him and leaving Hop one-on-one, leaving AJ one-on-one, leaving Kirk in that other slot one-on-one. And that's why Kyler's been able to spread this ball around so evenly.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see all of the receptions they have on the team? Nobody's getting more than 2 or 3 other than the next guy.
True.
13, 10, 12. They're all in the same line of how many receptions they have because Kyler's spreading the ball around, and it's because of that one piece is allowing that offense to open up.
That's true. Though I would add with this Viking game, I wish that they would have went after Hopkins a little bit more. Right. And I know that they were throwing doubles, kind of zone doubles at him because Peterson was over there, but they were also throwing in that safety behind. So it's kind of he was able to exploit a little bit, but I think they could have actually kept going after it and just baiting Peterson in the beginning of the zone. But
let Peterson tell it on his podcast that he did a good job on Hopkins. So let him tell it. He did a good job on Hopkins. Of course, we saw the on the tape. I saw the tape. They were always rolling the guy over there, helping him. They knew he needed help. They knew it. So, but I would, like you said, I would have loved to have seen Cliff. I thought they were going to come in here and attack him. I really did. I thought they would just go ahead. Let's go ahead and just really attack this dude. Let everybody see what this dude's really about.
He plays 7 yards back.
Yeah, they didn't even do that. I thought for sure they would do that. I thought they would do some things that would, okay, let's see if this guy can really run with Hop. Did you see the play when Hopkins juked him off the line? He fell down, and Kyler didn't throw it to him, but he fell down. He was wide open. Kyler didn't see him. He ended up running around taking a sack. But, man, he can't stay with that dude. Why is he on him on that all day long? I don't know. But
I don't know.
That's probably the next subject. But before we get to Patrick Peterson, you were just talking about Hopkins and the wide receivers. Do you think right now that he's happy with where things are going to be distributed the way it is right now? Do you think it has to be more Hopkins, essentially, more him than all the rest of the receivers?
No, he's built just like Kyler Murray. I don't think he gives one rip as long as they win.
Exactly.
Because he was happy as heck when Kyler was running in doing his little Baby Yoda celebration because he got the rushing touchdown. So I don't think he cares one bit who scores. I think he cares all about that we score, period.
That's a good thing. That's a good sign, too. Let's talk about the defense for a second, because we see the offense doing its thing. And the offense looks like it's going to continue to score points. It looks like I don't see them being out of a game, to the point where it's the other team's up 10 points and this game's over. I see them being in every game. So it has to come down to the defense. The defense had a pretty good day, half a day, which is the back end of the day. The second half, but the first half they just came and they were walking asleep coming into that game.
A little bit.
And so Mr. Checkdown wasn't so check down. He went deep on him and hit the dude down the sideline on the first day, second play of the game.
I thought his arm was going to pop out. I thought that whole arm was going to come across and just fell right out.
Let me ask you this. How can you go from total coverage and total pressure all on everything in 1 week and go to the next week and can't cover anybody?
It baffles me.
That is so crazy. No sense.
It makes no sense.
That is so crazy.
Maybe Tennessee really overlooked the Cardinals. I mean, maybe it was that.
Yeah, maybe.
And so now we're all thinking that we're up here and really we're kind of here, which is fine still, but it didn't look like it.
Man, I thought covering receivers was tough for them for some reason. I know it's because of the speed, but I think it's more so of the Vikings scheme and how they get those guys open. I don't think it's just, you line them up one-on-one, let's just go one-on-one. Those guys do a lot of crossing and a lot of moving around, a lot of motion. Mm-hmm. So it's like they didn't see that before, probably with Julio. Julio and AJ is just like two big dudes that's going to line up on one side and just go at you.
But that's fair.
These other two receivers, man, these dudes is way too dynamic to just stay in one spot, so they move them around.
And it works.
Jefferson moves around, and Thielen, he's everywhere. That dude's hard to stop.
I thought Thielen killed us on the game. I thought that last drive they put together.
Yeah, they couldn't stay with him. They couldn't stay with him.
No, we had no answer for it.
No answer. So, and the reason why he wasn't lining up predictable. He was lining up every different directions, going in different motions, and he was all over the field. So we're going to see a lot of that with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. Oh my God, we got to play Cooper freaking Kupp. That little dude is. I mean, you talk about speed, but yeah, I thought they saw something new probably, and it just was new to them, and they had to take a while to get adjusted to it, and they got adjusted to the point where they did a good job on third down.
Yeah.
What is it? 2 out of 10. They kept them 2 of 10 on third down. So when you keep them in third and long and third and get them off the field, that's a good thing. But they did that in the second half, and so the tale of two halves for the defense. Looked okay, got some pressure on the quarterback, not sacking him, but they did get some pressures to get Cousins a little uncomfortable. But other than that, I thought they got, they can play a little bit better starting the game, of course. And we thought we were going to see more sacks from Chandler, but yeah, like I said, matchups make the difference. So we don't know what we're going to see next week. You got to get up early in the morning and get on a plane, change your schedule, and blah blah blah. We know how it goes with this team when they get on the road in the morning on the East Coast. But let's talk about your boy and his day, Patrick Peterson, on his podcast. Some of his podcasts I listened to, what you sent me, and it seems like to me he's that dude that always has the great excuse of why things went the way it went. It wasn't me, and I'm telling you, as much as I put that video out last week that went crazy by everybody, the same way he thinks is the same way he plays. Same way. He looked like that. Like he said, I had my guy. That touchdown for Rondale Moore, I had my guy. See how he was like, I had my guy.
And I didn't see him sprinting after Rondale Moore either.
He sure did not. He slowed down and trotted it out. And he's supposed to be one of the fastest guys in the league, remember? And he hustled that out. At least try to look like you're trying to get him. Go hustle and go get the guy. He won't do it. He just won't do it because he's looking at it like everybody's watching me, and if I'm too close to him, it's gonna look like I got burned. But when you boil down the whole scheme, you the one that caused the play to get for him to be that wide open because you're supposed to get the farthest guy going deep. Yeah, you left Hopkins open here. Hopkins would have got a nice little chunk of yardage, but he sure wouldn't have got a touchdown out of it. So I don't know what this dude's mindset is. Remember I said that when you're in denial, you're always the last person to know that you're not what you used to be, or you're always the last to know. And this dude is the last to know that, dude, it's done. You're done. You're not the same dude. You're not. Yeah. You're not the same dude.
Make a great CB2, but not a CB1.
Yeah, good safety. Exactly. A good safety. But would he make a good safety? Because a good safety has to come up and tackle.
No, I'm thinking number 2 corner. Good number two corner.
I don't even know about that, man.
Well, it depends on who you're playing. Like, obviously, if you're playing the Rams, you're screwed either way.
Yeah, I think so. It's got a lot to do with who you're playing. And, I mean, he gets up for some guys, and he just kind of, when the spotlight's on him, he makes sure that it's not going to be him being the one that's the downfall. Like, oh, that dude caught the winning touchdown, but let me slow down so I don't get into the frame. It seems like that's how he plays a little bit, but I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, it was good to see him come back. I mean, to see him in a different uniform was really weird, but at the same time, some of these fans are salty. Like, man, I mean, if you'd have went out, letting this be just between you and management, we would have got it. But you start bringing in the fans and stuff and start talking. Now the fans are getting ticked off, and now they see something different. And now we dissecting every little thing you do. And, man, it's just wide open on how you look out there, man. In the corner position, you need to give it up and get to that safety position because you're where Richard Sherman was last few years. You got to be where he is. If you want to prolong that career, man, get in that safety position. That's about all I can tell him because that corner position, he's definitely average right now at best. I don't see him being one of the top guys in this league. And one thing I keep getting tired of hearing is how they keep pushing him up on this pedestal. I was watching that game, and Talib is in the dang booth. You don't want to go out there against Patrick Peterson? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Stop that. Stop pushing him up there. Y'all know he ain't the same.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And you hear him on TV all the Patrick Peterson is this. And they still push him up there as the top whatever. But I don't know. That's.
I mean, obviously there's a respect thing with the media from here and him. And then with Talib, obviously there's a protect
Oh,
your own,
yeah.
which I mean,
Oh,
same
yeah.
position, whatever.
Definitely.
Had it been like Romo saying something, like he would have been like, "Well, he's getting a little long in the tooth." He's not going to lie about it.
Yeah, Romo probably would say something like that. Oh man! So what was the numbers in this game? We gave up 419 total yards. We gave up the turnovers. We had 2 turnovers.
Yep.
They ran on us like crazy. That all the things that happened in that game equal to a loss. How the hell we win that game?
Because
man.
the Vikings don't know how to kick or win late game situations. That's how that goes.
That's just basically the truth. So,
They wasted like a good 30 seconds getting this field goal set up, and they should have just went for it.
Right.
In all honesty, the way the ball was rolling, they could have just keep running it. Then
they had us on our heels, and they just would not go after it. And Zimmer's that way the whole game. You're in a game that's kind of like a shootout type game. Giving the other team back the ball would be kind of like stupid. And you get a 4th and 1 with a Dalvin Cook, and you punt the ball at the 40-yard line. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought for sure he was going to go for that. I'm like, oh, here we go. Nope, he punted. I was like, oh, damn. And then that's when he gave up the Rondale Moore touchdown. I'm like, man, you got to blame the coach on a lot of this stuff, man. If I'm in a shootout game like that, I'm going for it on 4th down every time. Let's talk about Cliff. Cliff's coaching. How did you think about that? How it went down in that game? Because I saw that play calling down the stretch where we could have ate the ball, where we could have kept the ball on that 4-minute drive where you kind of hold on to the ball and run that clock down. That play calling stunk big time.
Yeah, that was where we ended up with a pick on that one, right?
Oh man,
why are we passing the ball in that situation?
I think that was the one that he forced the pick and it got. Yeah, I think so. I think that was that one. And then I think at the end of the game too, where we had the ball and we had the ball for only 20-something seconds and punted it back to him.
36 seconds,
36 seconds, and then I thought he should have put Kyler under the center and let Connor just start grinding away yards like they did last week. But to go back and throw the ball and the clock, Kyler runs out of bounds, clock stops. Then they go back and throw again, incomplete, clock stop. They just had the ball for 30 seconds, didn't take no time off the clock. And so those are situations when you're playing a team. Okay, you got away with a Vikings team that still went down there and almost should have won the game, beat you. But you can't do that against a Rams team. You can't do that against, the bigger names that you're going to be going up against. You can't do that. You got to finish those games. And so that's when his play calling is still a little bit suspect. He gets nervous as a play caller. You can tell.
Yeah.
You can see it on his face. This is that moment, and he just don't know what to call. And that's just like, man, just run the damn ball. That's what you need to do. Do what Baltimore does. Let Kyler run the ball.
That's fine.
That's, at least the clock will be running.
Right.
But to go back and have to throw it and he run out of bounds and all, man, that looked like last year, big time. Like, hey, Cliff got to clean up his play calling in crucial moments. Now, he's did some pretty good play calling throughout that game, but it's that moment in the game is where he starts to lose it a little bit. So let's hope he can clean that up a little bit going forward, because you got a lot of tough matchups, playoff teams that we're playing after this Jacksonville game.
Yeah, you got 3 straight.
Yep, I think
potentially
it's two of them in our division, right? And then
you go Rams, Niners, Browns.
Oh man, that Browns was going to be a shootout. That's going to be
Baker's going to want some payback from last year.
Oh yes, that's going to be a shootout. I'm looking forward to that one. That one's going to be a shootout. Let's go down the schedule now, because remember we went down the schedule the first time not knowing what this team looked like.
True.
We went down the schedule and I ended up with 6-11, and Ed ended up with 6-11. Javon had 8-9. I don't know where you had yours.
I was around the 8-9 or around 500 area. Yeah.
Okay, so now when you go back through the schedule, where are they now? Knowing that you saw what we've seen to this point. Okay, we know we got a formidable offense that can move the ball now and can score points. We got a good defense, but when they're on point, they're good. When they're not on point, they kind of look a little suspect. But we know we'll be in a game. So now when you got this team that we have, the next game is Jacksonville. They should beat the brakes off of Jacksonville. I mean, they should have a 40 burger in this game.
Should.
Can they do that? Will they do that? That says a lot. This next week's game going to say a lot about this team. How Cliff coaches, how he prepares, get them ready mindset-wise, and then go out there and just beat the brakes off a team that shouldn't be on the field with you.
Because if you go into this game breathing easily and like, all right, this is fine, you're going to end up with a close game. It's the NFL. It's all about parity.
Every time. You're right. And I think that's been this team's mindset a lot. Oh, we should just go ahead and do it. We're good. And they end up in a tight game with a team they shouldn't even be on the same field
with a coach that does this in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And it's not. You don't want that.
And that's a good thing. If the other side can get Cliff to that point in the game, they could take the advantage from us.
They could.
So, man, you got to come out and jump on them early. First drive, second drive, third drive, 21-0, game over.
You kill their will to live. That's what you do. You take the will right out of them.
And with that offense, you should be able to do that.
And with the Swiss cheese of the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, you should be able to do that. Absolutely.
Man,
looking through the schedule now, I look at it, we might be a 10, 11 win team. Might be.
Wow. Okay, so after Jacksonville is
Jacksonville's the Rams. That's an L. That's your first L. You go Niners.
You really gonna count it an L though?
And the Rams?
Yeah.
They got to get one L from the Rams. I'm telling you, it's going to be this one.
It's the home game. The Rams
I'll say they'll take the Niners game.
Okay.
I'll say they take the Browns game.
Really?
Then you got Houston. Then you lose to the Packers. Then you got the Niners. I'll say you drop the Packers are going to figure it out by the time we play them.
The Packers are not that good, man. They're not that good. The Packers are two people, Rodgers and Adams.
I'd love to beat the Packers at home like we always do, but I'm just telling you, that's just like his swan song. I think the only reason he's playing right now is so they could beat us in our stadium. That's all he wants to do, is just right his wrongs.
I'm hoping by that game that the Cardinals are stronger and better, and we'll see who's really the.
I hope so too, but I still have us being 10, 11 wins while losing to the Packers. Okay. All right, so then I say we drop a Niners game because, like I said before, I say we go 500 in the division because it's so tough a division. You get the Panthers. You split Seahawks, so I'm just going to put those right there. You got Bears, you'll win. You'll hopefully win the Rams game at home. You got the Lions, you'll win. Colts, you'll win. And screw them Cowboys. So that's 10 on one hand. I'm looking at 11, 12 wins right there.
Wow. And that's just basing off what you've seen so far, right?
Just right out the gut.
Right.
Why not?
Man. I don't know. It's possible. That could be possible, but
it'd be nice.
Things happen. I look at teams in our division like the 49ers in Seattle and the Rams. I mean, we have to at least beat all those teams at least once.
Yeah.
You can't get swept by any of those teams because that division is going to be tight all the way through going down the stretch, no matter what. Yep. And Seattle losing last week to the team you beat says a lot to me.
It does.
Are we that much better than Seattle?
I think so. I mean, I think Seattle's been in a slow decline.
Yeah,
very, very slow. But yeah,
I do too. I agree with that. I think we could potentially sweep them. I really do.
We might be able to. And with the Rams aren't healthy, so it's possible that we could sweep them too.
Yeah, I don't know about the sweep of the Rams, but I think we can sweep the Niners and Seattle. That's
what I'm saying. The Niners. If I said Rams, I meant Niners.
Yeah. Niners. We can sweep both those other two, but that Rams one, we got to try to get one.
But at the minimum, you have to split. You have to split.
Right.
And obviously, you have to take care of your Jacksonville's, your Texans,
right.
Your Panthers.
That's what I was just about to say. Everything
Colts.
Outside of that division, you better win them games.
This is not a very terrible schedule. Looking at it now, the way it's shaping up. It's not bad. You got some good ones. When you had Titans, we beat the Titans right away, it kind of feels better, right? It's like going to the doctor, you got to get a shot, and you're like, all right, let's get this out of the way first, and give me the news later.
And I feel like I gave back a win. It's like, wait a minute, I had them at 6-11. I got to take one back. Now they're 7-10. I got to keep going.
Keep climbing up.
Yeah, ones that they're not supposed to win. Now, the one if they win that Rams game, then that all bets are off. I'm gonna be like, okay, look, if they can beat that team, they can beat anybody. So
true.
I'm gonna see how that goes. I hope that goes the way I'm thinking it should go. But we can play that team. You just can't give the Rams that. We always find a way to give them the 2-score lead on us.
Yeah,
and we're playing
quick
catch
turnover.
Yeah. There you go. And we're playing catch up. We can't be in that type of game with them. Even though our offense is able to kind of strike a little faster now, but they can strike just as fast or more deadly than ours.
True.
So, I heard the radio that they're talking about Matthew Stafford today. They were saying, why is everybody giving him so much pub and so much like he's just this big all-star, whatever quarterback that makes the difference for that team? And I kind of look at that and go, you know what? The difference is the team around him. Mm-hmm. That's the difference because Detroit never put anything around him. I mean, a running game, no. Offensive line, no. They had one receiver, always one good receiver all the time, and that's all he had. And after that, it was just him and the one receiver, and he was on his own. But now he's got a plethora of receivers. He's got a hell of a defense that he can play off of. He never had all of that. So that's what makes the difference of why everybody's putting him up on a pedestal. Like, he could make that team way better than what they've been.
True.
And that's kind of how I see it. When I saw that game one, how he was striking all over the field, I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, uh-oh. That's what they look like.
It looks dangerous. Very dangerous.
Let's go down the line real quick because we got about maybe 6 or 7 minutes left on the line here. I mean, on the show. So we have, 7 teams that are still undefeated?
Yeah.
7 or 8? Okay, and they got us listed as a pretender. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that at all. Who else is the pretenders in that section? Who else they got?
They have pretender. Well, they have the only contender. Well, Super Bowl contender they had only the Bucks.
Okay,
and that we can all agree with that. But then when you talk about contenders in the NFC to go against the Bucks, of the 2-0 teams that are left in the league right now, I don't have it in front of me. The 2-0s. I think they only had the Bucks, that one team that was the contender.
So you got Raiders, Bucks, Niners, Broncos, Rams, Cardinals, and Panthers.
Okay, of the contenders in the NFC, you gotta put the Rams up there, right?
You got to put the Rams up there, and then it's a toss-up between the Cardinals and the Niners. I think the Panthers are Fugazi. The Broncos, Fugazis. The Raiders, contenders, but they're gonna fall. I think they might fall apart towards the end because Jay, that's what happens. Yeah, they're gonna get hot 8-0, and then 9 straight losses.
But here's the difference with that Raider team, though. Right now, the start of their season's never been as tough as they are to these first 2 games.
Fair.
And they always have a cupcake here and then they look good. They beat the Ravens and turn right around and beat Pittsburgh. That is not easy.
That's tough.
So you got to give them their props. That's a pretty damn good looking 2-0 right there.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But when they jump in that division, so they just become part of that little cluster of that division all the time. Even Kansas City's in that. They all beat each other no matter what.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yet, I would give the Raiders a contender for now, but we'll see. Like you said, they do decline during the season. So it looks like it's just basically what in the NFC it's going to be the Bucks unless the Rams can stop them. Yeah. Unless there's a secret dark horse that comes up, gets their defense straight. Offense still can score 38 points. Kyler Murray being the X factor. Hey. Who knows?
It could happen.
It could happen.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough.
We were 2-0 last year, though, but you know how
like I said in the beginning of the show, this is mirror image of last year. We got Detroit. This will be easy. Losing Detroit by 3.
How many games do you think it's going to take before you really figure out that this Cardinal team is for real or not? I think looking at that Jacksonville game is going to tell us a lot. I really do. I think if you go into that Jacksonville game and you end up winning that Jacksonville game 13-10, or you end up winning that Jacksonville game 23-20, that still says, okay, they ain't there yet.
Yeah, you're right about that, but I think you have an idea about the outlook of the season right at or just after the Packers game, because by then you'll have gone through 4 playoff hopeful teams, right?
And how many you got division?
and then you would have gone through 2 from the division. So that's a pretty good barometer of what you got. You know what I mean?
Right. I think that's good. So we're looking at we're gonna come back revisit this when we get past the Packers and see what our record is, and then not only see what our record is, see how we played in those games leading up to that game.
Right.
Because you can lose a game just by getting beat by another team. That's okay, but you can at least play your game and just get beat. But don't take out the dang shotgun and do like what ASU do and just shoot their own foot off.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the different type of game. But if you just played the Rams straight up and they just beat you coming down the stretch and like the Vikings should have done, kick that field goal and beat you, okay, that is what it is. But I don't want to see us get blown out. We should never be getting blown out of a game. We should never be losing to a Jacksonville team. We should be blowing the brakes off of them, or a Houston team, or be in a game with them 2 teams.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see but you're right. The Packers game is going to be a good barometer to look at. So
by then you know what you have, and I think the schedule gets a little easier then too, so that you're like, all right, well if we beat X, Y, and Z, well then we can definitely beat the Panthers and the Lions and Cowboys or whatever.
Oh, the Panthers are one of the 2-0 teams too. So
pretender.
You really think so?
I think so.
I can't discount a running game that as a pretender.
You're right. That's fair.
They can run that damn ball. I mean, McCaffrey has made Darnold look like a star because he's softening up that defense for him to throw the ball. And so, I mean, when you see that dude coming at you in waves, your whole defense is going to concentrate on that one dude, and Darnold's going to just throw the ball downfield. I mean, hey, it is what it is. And running game can do a lot for a team.
You're right, but let's just stack up. I've got that game already pulled up. Okay, this is just straight up McCaffrey versus Edmonds. McCaffrey has 45 carries, 170 yards, and 1 touchdown on the season. It's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Edmonds has 20 carries and 109 yards. So less than half and only 61 yards difference. Less than half the carries. So he's more productive.
Correct.
They're going to pound McCaffrey for a yard every time. That's going to wear on that guy. That's going to wear on him, especially by the time we play them in November.
Right. And that's another thing you got to look at. He's small in stature, too, so he's going to be taking a lot of hits. And so, but they do move him around. They don't just hand him off the ball and go between the tackles.
That's true. He gets a lot more yards than just
they throw him the ball, and that's where he's more dangerous.
Fair.
So, but I don't know. I don't like you said, with the pretenders will start to fade away at some point, and you'll see. But I don't know what the Panthers defense look like. I haven't watched them on tape, but if you got that running back behind you and a quarterback that's capable, I think Darnold's capable. I mean, his first 2 games looked like, hey, he looked better than he looked in the Jets, and it's all about that team around him. Like same thing with Stafford. Stafford was in Detroit, and he looked like a pretty good pocket passer, but just never win you games. Darnold looked like crap with the Jets, but now you got a team around him. He looks a little bit like a quarterback now. So I don't know. I think they can. I don't think they're a pretender yet. I think it's too early to tell. But who did they beat? Who did they beat the two games? I think that's
the Jets by 5.
Okay.
And then they smacked the Saints 26-7.
Okay, now the Saints one kind of makes me think a little bit like, man, they beat that team up like that. But then the Saints are not the same Saints.
Right. Because the Saints, they shocked everyone by beating, who would they beat week 1? It was the Packers 38-3. Yeah, but Green Bay they're all out of sync. They hadn't practiced together. So I don't even count that. I think the Saints are pretenders too. So I don't actually look at that as serious.
You think the real Jameis showed up? Mm-hmm. Did you see that game? He was throwing them picks like
he's back.
I was watching the highlights of that, and he closed his eyes and threw the right. He was just throwing it up across. I said, "That's the Jameis I know."
11 for 22 and 111 yards passing. Like, that's terrible.
There he is.
That's bad.
And these rookie quarterbacks, real quick. Fields is going to be getting a start in Chicago. Wilson has looked like crap. And I mean, just basic rookie quarterbacks. But why did they give the Jets quarterback dude so much hype? Like he was just going to really be this guy that's going to really just come. He looks worse than Darnold did. It's the Jets, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but Fields on the other end.
I'm excited to see Fields.
I want to see what he can do. Yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do. I want to see how that plays out. I hope he can at least he'll at least get the excitement in that dang crowd, going in that stadium for them.
But you know how it's going to go for us, right? because Dalton's not out for the year, right? Or is he? No.
No.
Okay. So we play the Bears on December 5th.
Okay.
By the time they get to us, they'll have played Fields for 3 games, and then they'll bench him for Dalton right before they play us. And we're like, okay, so what film do we have to watch? This happens all the time. It always happens with us.
Well, our defense should be prepared for a running quarterback regardless. Because
that's true.
They got to see that dude in practice every day. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we got another game coming up, of course, Sunday morning, and we got to hope our Cardinals wake up on point and don't have to get off no rust and come out on the first drive, score a touchdown, score on the next drive, put this game away early so this team won't even think about trying to make a game out of it. But that's how it goes. Hopefully the Cardinals can come away 3-0 and really start to turn some heads going into that. What the next game is to be the 49ers game Rams game in LA. Yep. I'm looking forward to that one. So you'll be listening to the Kazual Sportz Show. Sean McConnell, Earl Burnett. We're going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.